Hi there, welcome to the studio. I'm Sheila, and for our inspiration for today, we are going to be thinking about Easter. It's this Sunday, and so I thought we would do this mixed medium cross. It's a wooden panel from Michaels, a piece of sheet music, and some paint, and just a little bit of a layering of a mixed medium piece. So I'm glad you're here to join me. Come on in, I'll get set up and we'll get started. All right, let's get started making our cross. So these wooden panels, they come in a 2-pack from Michaels, and they are white, and they're about 12 bucks. And so you can do two. You can keep one for yourself and give one to a friend. So the very first thing we got to do is we're going to paint the background. And I have this aqua color I use. It's called Laguna. And I noticed this right when I was dusting this, it's a little dusty. So you might want to take like a paper towel or something and kind of wipe it off. So I like this Deco Art paint. Of course, there's all kinds of paints. So I'm just going to put some of this on there. And we're going to paint the background first. I'm just going to put it on here like this. I'm going to use a 1-inch brush. Just paint it on there. If you don't like the blue, maybe you want to do a different color. You could do actually any color you like, really. The printed paper, the piece of piano paper, you know, like the music sheet, is kind of a yellowish color, and so think about that if you want to kind of have your colors at least kind of be complementary or go together a little bit. All right, I'm just going to paint. I'm going to leave the edges white, and then we're going to be putting some darker brown on the edges anyway. And let's see, a lot of this is going to get covered up with the sheet music also. So I suppose technically you wouldn't have to do the whole thing blue, but it kind of just gets you in the mood for painting. It just kind of gives your brain a little time to say, okay, we're creating. So, you know, and I feel like to paint, so I like to paint. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put the first coat on here. Well, the only coat of blue, actually. And then I will dry it with a hair dryer, and then we'll Mod Podge the piece of sheet music on. All right. So I'm going to dry this with a hair dryer, and I will be back in a few minutes. All right, that is nice and dry. And now we have our piece of sheet music. And I will attach this and so you guys can use it. Like I was saying, it's a little bit yellow. See this? It's called the Old Rugged Cross. Maybe you know it. And before I do it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a torn edge. Okay? And so just take a minute and do the torn edge look. Gives it kind of a nice old look. Okay, I'm going to do the bottom too. Let's see, actually a little bit above. I'm gonna tear it like right about here probably. See if that's good. All right, and then I'll do the sides. Now Mod Podge you can get even at the Dollar Tree. I noticed the other day there's some Mod Podge there. It all depends on different times, but there was some there if you don't want to buy a big old quart jar of it or something. I go through a lot of it with the students, and so we buy it in big quantities. So I'm going to be using this Mod Podge. It's matte. I know that there's also glossy out there. I don't think it matters really. It just gives it a little bit of a shine if you want to, if it's glossy. All right. I'm going to put some Mod Podge on the back, and then we'll put a little Mod Podge on the front also. Rinse my brush out. So just spread this nice and even. Make sure you get to where the edges of the paper will be. Got a little carried away. So this time of year is so lovely. It's beautiful out right now. The cherry blossom trees are all lovely pink. Such a nice time. Spring, it's gonna be Easter, pretty soon it'll be summer. And where I live, it's kind of nice today. It's 60 something, almost 70 probably. Pretty nice out. Everything's blooming. And then with Easter, with Christ's resurrection, it's a pretty beautiful thing. So this is a lovely piece to do this week. All right, so I have that down, and then I'm going to put the piece of sheet music down here. Get it all nice and lined up. Ooh. Actually, make sure that the string is on the top, okay? The hanging piece. I mean, I suppose you could always turn it around, but make sure. And I like to kind of go from the middle to the outer edges. Do that. All right. We'll put some Mod Podge on top too, especially on the edges. A little blue in the brush still, which is actually fine. This is a, you know, a mixed medium piece, and you can do it really in so many different ways. I'm going to be doing it one way today, but of course you can make it your own and do it all kinds of stuff on it. As in, you know, color or markings or whatever. Put a little Mod Podge on top of this. All right, so now I'm gonna let that dry. Actually, I'll probably use a hairdryer again, and I will be back. All right, that's nice and dry. And I did notice that there's a little bit of bumping going on, which it'll be fine because this is a textured look. But to make sure that, I think I just probably had too much Mod Podge right there, and I didn't lay the paper roll flat. So the tiny bit you can barely notice, but just to let you know if you want to make that nice and smooth when you put that down. All right, so I have done this several times. One of the first pieces I just kind of drew the cross on and just made it kind of swoopy, and then I thought it was a little bit too thin. And then some other times, let me see. Let's see, I have this one. So they're always a little bit different. All right, this the fabric, the drape is like goes like that. This one is also a little drapey, just it's a little bit different. And so I went ahead and drew a cross that I liked so that I could, out of cardstock, and then I cut it out so that I could put it on here. But you could just draw it on, or, you know, paint it too if you don't if you don't want to just like, it's all up to you. All right, so I think I'm going to put this time, I'm going to put it up above the music a little bit, and I'll just draw around it with a pencil. And let's see, about 3 fingers. That looks about right. So I'll just draw around this. If you want to wait a little longer than me, like mine still feels really pretty damp. You know, I'm doing this for the video, but if you want to wait like a half hour or so to let everything kind of dry, you can. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to paint it brown, and I'm just going to use a burnt umber, and we'll just kind of paint it with some brown. I'm also going to put some white in here right away. Just regular white paint. All right, and on this one has like brown, and I let the music show through a little bit. This one has a couple different, it's brown, but it also, I put some of this pencil that we're going to use later. I'll show you how to do that. All right, so just go for it. Whoops, I forgot to rinse my brush out. It had Mod Podge on it still. Let me rinse that out. We don't want Mod Podge. I guess it would work, but all right. So tell me what your favorite part of spring is, if you love spring, or what your favorite holiday is, or what your favorite time of year is. I do like spring a lot, though I love summer also. So I'm just using a 1-inch brush, and I'm just going to paint this cross end. Now this brush, I'm not going to be like so perfect about it either. This brush is kind of old, which is fine. So it doesn't have to be perfect at the edges. Because we're also going to do other things to it too, so. Hold it up a little bit. It's laying in front of me, and it's kind of hard to see if I don't pick it up sometimes. I kind of like the textured look. It's kind of nice. So we'll do the front, the top here. Yeah, if you make 2 of these right away, you take one, maybe you're going to someone's house, and you could just take them a little gift. It'd be nice. Getting there. This is a nice brown, but there's lots of different browns out there also. just a very simple cross. And then we will be painting the shroud that hangs right here. We'll be painting that at the end also. So, all right, once you get it kind of where you like it, you can just leave it like this. And like I was saying, it doesn't have to be perfect unless you want it that way, but it doesn't have to be. That's part of the charm, I suppose, is to have it not so perfect, maybe. Okay. So we'll leave it like that. And we'll add a little, take a little out later too, maybe. Because some of it's nice. Like one of them I did, you could see a little bit of the music through it. So this one's a whole different color. It's a lighter brown. You can see a little bit of the music. So if you want to wipe a little bit of that off, you can. But you let it dry a little bit, and then you can take like a scrunched up paper towel and just kind of take some pieces off maybe. Okay. If you want to, kind of give it a little texture. I'll let it dry a little bit. I'm going to run a hair dryer over it real quick. All right, so it's a little dry. Maybe let's just try it just to see what that's all, how that looks. Maybe scrunch up a paper towel and kind of wipe it a little bit. Not much comes out, but we could put a little water on it. Let's see. A little bit comes off. So if you do want to try a different kind of little texture on it, you could do that too. Take some of it off. All right, it's up to you. Here and there, maybe. Kind of gives it that kind of old look, supposedly. I suppose. I'll leave it for now because I don't want to do too much there. Okay, so now let's put on the shroud, the fabric. And once again, I ended up drawing one because I did it with other people too. So really, it's just like kind of like a letter M, all right? And you can just, I'm gonna use this. If you want to draw out one for yourself and then do it, then you kind of know how you want it, okay? But the material goes up and then it kind of swoops down. And to me, it looks like the letter M kind of spread out. Or you can just freehand it and just make it this lovely flowy piece, okay? It's all up to you. Like I said, I've done it before where, whoops, I just tore the, mine's so wet because I'm just working on it, but you guys can let it dry a little bit more. This one I did, I just kind of swooshed it on and like it was flowing. And so that's all freehand too, if you want to do something more like that, okay? All right, so let's take the white paint and we're going to be painting this. I'm going to grab a different paintbrush. All right, so I have my different paintbrush here and I'm just going to paint this white. So it's going to go behind the cross here, and then it's going to come to the front and drape down. Oops, it's not dry enough. And then it's going to go over the cross like this. And then it's going to go behind the cross. All right. And as you can tell, mine isn't very dry, so I'm going to dry this a little bit more. But I do like how the music notes kind of show through. And so I'm going to put a little bit more white, but I'm not going to, I want them to kind of show through a little bit, you know. And then I'm going to take a smaller paintbrush actually. Kind of make these edges a little all right, I'm gonna let this dry a little bit and put another coat of the white on just because the brown is not dry enough and it's bringing it up. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'll put another coat of the white on. Grab a fresh paper towel here, rinse my brush out. This is just a 1/2 inch brush. It's a flat brush, which is kind of nice. And I'm just going to bring this paint, just pretending I'm painting material. It's going to go down and up. So I go with use my brush strokes as if it's flowing. And up. And over the top. I'm going to just leave those little creases in there with the paint, which is perfectly fine because it'll give it a little bit of texture. A few more pieces down here. All right. So I rinsed my brush out and then we'll let this dry again. We're going to put some, let me show you this one. We're going to put some blue on the background and some browns, and we'll color some of this across in. I'll show you how to do that. And then we'll add some gold at the very end. So I'm going to let this dry again. You know, with acrylic paint and art, there's a lot of, the timing is what's important to let things dry and to, you know, before you move on to the next step, like when I was doing my cross also. So one of the pencils that I love to use in art, it's called the Stabilo. It's a black pencil. It isn't water, you know, you can smear it with water, which is kind of nice. And so we're going to use that and give it this kind of old, aged look. All right. So I'm going to dry this a little more and I'll be back. Okay, that's going to need a little more time to dry, but I'm going to rinse out my paintbrush, my 1/2 inch brush, my flat brush. And we're going to put a little bit of more of the blue kind of on the background, okay? So we'll just take some of the blue paint. Let's see, we were using this Laguna. Put some in my palette here. All right, and we're just gonna kind of brush it around the cross. Just kind of in a fast, you could start out here on the outside if you kind of want the paintbrush to kind of get going. And actually, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a wet wipe. You could get even a wet paper towel. Wet wipes are kind of nice, these baby wipes. I also get them at the Dollar Tree. Because then if we start putting this on here and you're like, ah, it's too much, you can just take this and kind of move it around, all right? And you have to be careful to not get it too wet. I'm gonna go on the outside of this, kind of just here and there. Just really just enjoy putting some paint on. Another thing to do is called kind of dry brushing. If you put your paintbrush in the paint and then you take a paper towel or wherever you're working on, the surface you work, you know, like a piece of paper, and take some of the paint off and then go on it, then it doesn't put so much down. All right, it's just kind of dry brush, it's called. So just, and I'm barely touching the paper. I mean the, you know, the here, I'm just kind of all here and there. See, it just gives it a nice look. So I'm gonna do a little more on this side. I'm gonna do a little, put it on my brush, dry it, take most of it off, and then just put some here and there. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. That's the kind of art I love. It's not precise, it's just enjoying the process. Remembering how you have purpose, your art has purpose, you know, it gives you joy, gives other people joy when you give them something too. It's all very important. All right. Let's see, do I want any more or are we done? Let's see. Sometimes you have to take your painting, hold it up in front of you and see if you're done or not. Maybe even take the brush and do some, you know, side pieces too. So I always go vertical, but you want to do some horizontal lines also. All right, so I'll leave that for now. We can always add more. And then let's add a little bit of, let's do the Stabilo pencil. I think everything's dry enough. So this Stabilo pencil is, I like to just kind of go around everything, kind of in a rough, you know, just kind of outline. What you can do is, if you get one of these, I believe I got these off, you know, Amazon or someplace. I'll look, and if I have a link, I'll add it. But let me just show you kind of how this works. You can put it down, and then you take the water, and not too much water, and it just kind of smears it in. You don't put very much water on your paintbrush. I put too much. But it just kind of blends it in and kind of gives it a nice, kind of an old look, kind of a weathered. You could do this also with paint. I just like this pencil a lot. But you can do it with paint also. So yeah, it's just adding a little bit of darkness. Okay, so that it adds it a little, gives it a little more dimension. Especially when we come over here to the shroud. Let me show you this. See how I put this on the side here? Okay, and then I put some on the cloth also. So that's what we're doing. Remember, it doesn't have to look so perfect, okay? I know that's hard in art sometimes, right? We want to be perfect about our stuff, but it's this type of, you know, mixed medium, okay? You can make this perfect, but a little more perfect, but we're having fun with different techniques and different mediums, all right? So just kind of put some marks down, go around. Some into the cross. And then you can get your paintbrush, make it a little wet, dry it off, and then go over these marks. Kind of blend them in a little bit, you know? All right, I want to show you this one. Okay, because we're also going to put some blue and white on the cross. So you can get these marks a lot darker than I'm doing right now, okay? Just to let you know. Let's go ahead and put some more marks on of the paint on the cross so that it feels a little more, so we feel a little more safe doing that. And matter of fact, I'm gonna get a palette knife, and you guys can use, if you don't have a palette knife at home, you can always get a piece of cardboard and tear it and just kind of use that to scrape, or you can use a palette knife or an old credit card, you can use that too. All right, we're almost finished. I grabbed a palette knife, but I also grabbed some cardboard just to try it and see, to show you guys kind of what I'm talking about. If you tear a piece of cardboard, just like a little 1-inch piece, and then if you put it in your paint, well, this is gonna work on a piece of paper better. Try it out a little bit, and then you can put some marks, okay, on your painting. You could probably even use your fingers, actually. But a lot of times I take and I use my palette knife. So if you put your paint on, you know, a little piece of paper here, and you run your palette knife on over there like this, then you can do these nice scrapes. Or you can also take a credit card, but practice some on, like on a piece of paper, because you might get too much, or you might not like the scrapes. I don't know. Sometimes I just try it out a little bit. And just put a few more pieces down. Just kind of ties it all together. And then, you know, if you get too much, you just, if you're like, well, I don't really want that there, just take a paper towel or a baby wipe, like, and just wipe it off. Okay? But this is another thing there's no really wrong or right way to do it. Just put some pieces down. I'm gonna grab a little bit more. Like some of my paintings, sometimes they have tons of this marks, sometimes they have hardly any. So I guess it just depends on, you know, the mood, however you want to do it. So, all right, if you really like it, if not, whatever, it doesn't matter. Maybe we want more this time. Okay. and you can always wipe some off. And then let's do a little white like that also. Take some white. This is fun. We're supposed to be having fun doing this, you know? So don't stress out about it. It's fun. Just enjoy it. Some more white. Put a little white on the cross. See, just kind of here and there. Gonna put some on the outside. Over here, you know, about this way, over this way on the wood itself. And that's another thing that you can do, is to pick the piece up and kind of look at it and see where it's going. Okay, maybe you want some more horizontal pieces or vertical. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna stop for now, but I might add a little more in a little bit, because I want to show you another technique that is fun to do. It's with this ink pad. Now I will let this dry a little bit probably. So you don't have to use an ink pad, but if you use an ink pad like this, it's called StazOn. This is super old. I think they still sell it. Timber Brown. And I just take the pad and I run it on the side of the, like this, on the side of the wood to give it this old look. Now, what's going to happen, because I didn't let it dry yet, is it going to smear the white. So I'm going to let this dry just a few minutes, and then we'll come back and do this, because it's going to get on the ink pad too. And if you don't have an ink pad, you can also do this with the brown paint. You could use your, again, you could use your cardboard or your palette knife. Take the brown paint and just, or just take a finger even, maybe put the finger in the paint, the brown paint, wipe most of it off, and then just do it that way too. Okay, it's not quite the same, but you could get it to work. All right, no one would know the difference. So I'm gonna dry this and I will be back. All right, so the white is pretty much dry, and so I'm gonna take this ink pad again, and I'm gonna go on the edges, kind of bring it in like this. I'm also going to go on the edges of this paper. And it just kind of does its thing and just starts coming together like a whole piece, all right? It's just a light touch. And this is one of those things where you can do a lot, or you can do a little bit, however you want to do it. Every time I do it, it's different, all right? So it just all depends on the day, really. But I think that's probably enough for now. So I'll just stop for now, and I can always add more. We'll do a little bit of gold, and then, you know, when you get done, you can always, the best part about this, you can add more, or, you know, you could paint some more or whatever you want to do. You could put an edge around here. You could really get this dark if you want it to. You could probably actually even darken the edges before you put it down. I've seen people burn the edges and put it down. If you want to do something like that, you can too. So one other fun thing to do is you can dribble the paint. You know how you, like in watercolor, you can put a little water in your paint and then do a little, where you take the paintbrush and you bounce it and you have like little speckles of paint. You can do that. Or you can just do it how we did it just now. So the very last thing to do is add some gold, and I have this lovely deco art. It's called Extreme Sheen. It's 24 karat gold, it's called, and I'm going to do the same thing with the palette knife. So I'll put a little bit down on my paper, and use the palette knife. It's very pretty. We'll put some different places, maybe a little bit on here. Some on the cross. Grab a little more. What do you think? Is there enough? I don't want to get too carried away. Sometimes I get carried away with these parts and then it looks like, ah. All right, so let's hold it up. It's probably enough. All right, so let's, I'm gonna hold it up to myself just a second. Let's see. It's pretty nice. Well, what do you think? Did you guys make one with me? They all look different. That's today's. This was one of them. It's a little doll, looks a little duller. And then this is one too, a little bit different. They're all different, okay? So this is today's. I think I'm just gonna leave it there for now. I can always add more. Anyway, I hope you guys did it with me. If you did, you know, send a picture in the comments. Of course, if you like and subscribe, that'd be great. And I just hope you had fun. I hope you have a lovely Easter and come back. I'm going to be starting this new series doing the inspiration art inspiration, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.